Mr.
Collier,
Speaker,
for what purpose?
will the chairman yield for questions?
Does the gentleman yield for questions?
Yes.
Gentleman yields.
Chair Leach, I appreciate the analogies that you gave because you said in terms of coverage, it is contract specific, and if you came to the dance, they got to take you home. So just want to provide clarification. If the insurance company A provided coverage for John Doe for transitioning, are they required to provide detransitioning services or care for John Doe if that is what they decide? I want to make sure. I'm trying to figure out if is it person specific or is it procedure specific?
Yeah, the answer is unequivocally yes. What you just described is the purpose and the heart of the bill, if I understood you correctly.
Yes. Okay. So then that's why you're trying to say that it's a limited provision. Your bill is limited because if that person did transition, and I'm not trying to help you with your bill because I oppose your bill, but I just want to provide clarity for our intent, for your intent. So if the person did get transitioning care and they decide not to, they want to detransition, that same insurance company must cover that care.
You're saying that if insurance company A provides John Doe gender transition coverage and John Doe later decides to detransition, is your question, does insurance company A have to cover the detransition coverage?
Yes.
That's what the bill does.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So that's our foundation.
Well, that's all the bill does.
Okay. So if John Doe changes to company B and then decides to detransition, but company A is the one who provided the care, does company B have to cover that detransitioning care?
Does company B cover transition care?
They do, but they didn't cover John Doe's.
So then, yes, they do.
Okay. All right. So then it is care specific then, not person specific.
Well, let me put it this way. If an insurance company does not want to cover detransition coverage, then they should not and cannot, under this law, provide coverage for gender transition treatment. Does that make?
Okay, so you're saying
so if company A does not, or company B, whatever the company is, does not want to, for whatever reason, business reasons, not cover detransition treatment, then they cannot cover transition treatment.
okay,
And they're fine.
and so would it apply for existing those who did have coverage and they transition now? Before the effective date of this bill, would they be required to provide detransitioning care before? Even though
At a point in time, an insurance contract is just that. It is a contract. If they, at any point in time, whether it's now or when the contract was entered into, provide gender transition coverage, when this law goes into effect, they also have to provide detransition coverage.
Okay, so
In other words, they cannot deny someone who wants to undergo a detransition treatment or procedure, they cannot deny coverage of that, which they currently under Texas law can, and they do regularly.
Okay, so if they did provide it, like say for instance, they provided that care. So then if your bill says that they have to provide detransitioning care, does that require insurance carriers to have an adequate network of providers to provide that care?
I would assume so, yes.
Okay, and then in terms of someone who did transition in Texas and the insurance company covered it, say they move out of state with the same insurance company, is that insurance company required to cover the detransitioning care in that other state?
Yes.
All right. So if the person has, since we've been here, you and I came in together, and if the person, we've had two different insurance companies since we've been here. If you change insurance companies,
Go ahead.
okay, sorry, that's okay. If you change insurance companies, if the second insurance company has that as a coverage, you're saying that they would have to provide that care to you, even though they didn't provide it to you before.
Correct.
Okay.
It's similar to precondition, existing precondition coverage.
Now,
Pre-existing condition coverage.
Now, there's certain carriers that are in different states, and they have different contracts for different states, but they're the same, big umbrella company. I know you don't want us to say names, but if you have an insurance coverage, and the person is currently out of state, and now that company, that same insurance company in Texas, is going to start covering transitioning and detransitioning care. But I live in another state, and I have insurance under that same brand in that other state, and I move to Texas, or I come to Texas because I want to get that procedure. Would that be covered?
No, so if there's an umbrella insurance company that's operating in more than one state, which most of them do, they're operating in all 50 states, they're abiding by the laws and the statutes and the regulations, and in some cases mandate coverage for conditions that other states might not. So if you live in Colorado and you are working for an employer in Colorado and you have an insurance coverage contract in Colorado and their mandates are different than we have in Texas, then we can't and we shouldn't try to change or enforce this law under Colorado statute. This would simply apply to insurance contracts that are entered into here in the state of Texas. Now, my hope would be that other states would follow our suit after we pass this, but in your situation, no, that would not be applicable.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.